we gathered the semifinals of the World Cup team. This is gonna happen within 8 more days. So let's see who we're gonna support with within the few quarterfinals, and the semifinals will happen, and then they will move on to the finalists of the athletes and teams that they're on to. Please cheer for the amazing crowd of people that are gathered in a ceremony. The rewards of the medal will be held onto the podium. There will be a reporter that will be up on stage and announce the winner throughout the whole entire game. Every year we celebrate the whole entire sports program featuring the basketball team and so much more. Huge sponsor for this video goes to the teams that led up to FIFA. Thank you so much for everybody that has contributed to the players that are here and making it more fun and powerful throughout the whole entire week. Next year will be even more crazier by the time we keep adding more people to the field, which is really repetitive. Most of you think that this is real, which it can lead about 80% of its own ways. In many goals that we achieved within the circumstances of having a higher achievement is that we can reassure about the plans and the upcoming project that will happen within a few more months. The supportive idea goes out to the friend of mine that helped us really impact our behavior, and to those that led effectively. We may feel conservative, although these teens were very punctual. Some of it could be normal, others are not that different based on the religion that they are born in. We usually don't speak the same language as often that they used to be. Sometimes, whether if we are in Egypt, we sure know that the pyramid were kind of made out of sand. When we discover something across the Egyptian border, we know that the Egyptians lived there a long time ago. But somehow we managed to cross in different parts of the species that we live in. This world becomes the most agriculture within the state of Miles that has been living through the past. Starting as of 2 years from now, we might be able to see the surrender of our thoughts. No matter what we contribute in, it is our honor and distinguished guests to remind themselves of the poverty that they went through. The president told us that not everybody can be consecutive. The leader who tries to role model against the other teams will be able to cheer on the person that was trying to lead this kind of arrangement. By the time if we made a different category for each player and whose ball is responsible for them to hold it, otherwise the game will begin in 1 hour and 15 minutes. At this time rating, we might know who was the council of the member chief guard that led through many civilizations that comes from within the United States government law. The New York City Department of Education has reminded us that all safety standards must come from within. Many socialists would even found out that not within the budget of $250,000 will cost a majority of spending way too much money than less time, because we wouldn't know if the money was expensive or not. We declared the nation by letting our government try to lower the cost of its own prices. We sincerely thought it could be saved through a local bank that is right here, living through the past few tensions of our minds. Not everybody can have the same privilege due to what it's surrender many other things. We want to thank our partner by sponsoring this video, which is Make-A-Wish Foundation. You can go to that festival and see many new rides however you want. We met some of our favorite content creators at the amazing festival event. A lot of kids that are able to attend will now be held across nationwide. A lot of food will be given away to a local homeless shelter, and the people who will serve people food to those kindergartners that doesn't really need to be helpless throughout the whole entire world. We always have to be kind to each other. Make sure to always respect with honesty. By the time if the students do not show respect, they will not get any treats or lunches because they would try to disobey each other, and sometimes they will personally cheat on other things as well. Normally we do things in a matter of kindness. Speaking of, we're in July right now, and it's our honor just to present this year's anniversary comes within the amazing achievement for the past future goals we understand and keep obeying the whole entire world. What futures hold can be led into something that is new, but poverty within comes first. We may understand how siege it was. Whenever August hits, we might remember these days and moments that you guys have been living, which were a very depriving moment. Shout out to these people who worked as a governor, executive order, the chief department education store, local reinforcement of the fire department, and to those who became as a security will now pay $10,000 just to help make our community feel safe. We always remember that not only crosswalks can really help the older people in case that they age too quickly. Our local and chief law enforcement might help throughout the entire needs in case of students or adults trying to feel a bit more repetitive, and sometimes they can feel a lot more hurt as well when they try to walk. When we get hit by a car, it doesn't mean that the help is on their way. It means that we always try to lift each other up by grabbing their arm and using safety measures of its own priority. Inevitable ways of giving things like a common feedback will toward the fundraisers more than $500 million, which is really expendatory. Living in a dream could become way more easier and more popular throughout the whole entire week. Arcades could be fun also. What's really interesting is the role model of becoming as a cosplay will be used with much more money and expenses, because when we buy the makeup, it doesn't mean we usually bought the same items that most girls have. We need to save so much money in order to buy a lot more expensive things throughout their consent. Impact their own behavior would be a lot less more common, even though when they serve as a majority right, we can't believe based on how people would try to manipulate against each other by reenacting throughout their civil right. The reunion of the own literacy fund has been given the such privileges to remind those 10 rules that has been given. Our strict policy might be ended corruptly. No matter how people might feel, it's just that it is a fun idea that we normally have been taken within the past few weeks. A lot of people has been changed throughout the whole entire globe of the tribe of the nation that they were being into. A lot of news has changed recently throughout this year. A lot of people were going up to that skyscraper and start proposing. A guy and a lady that tried to get on top of the building, which is very dangerous. This was taken during the Fox 5 news. I don't know how it is serious for them. Sadly, one of the oldest family member has passed away within its own heart rate problems. People cannot make it out of social media because when they try to make a tweet out of a funeral, they would say that people died. The cemetery might take up at least 35 minutes per drive. Many people has been gone through serious problems. Our family comes from our side, and their family comes from their side. No matter who we support, it is best just to reunite with them. Sometimes when we live in our hometown, we can just reenact based on how we feel, how they feel, or what is important to all of us. We always care or support them. Our pets can become such a nicer way in a great nicer tone. Moreover, we can stand proudly based on how we treat others as we like to treat our friends at a random school. It's like a public area, but it's not really identical when we find themselves as a bully. We treat them the nicer way and the more positive attitude that we give when they actually walk over to see how kind the student was. Let's say you were walking alone and there is nobody to talk to. Well, you can just find a friend that you really like, or maybe they bump into you with their arms. And they might ask you, "Hey, excuse me, who are you?" And they start calling out their names. This leads into a situation where everything could have been totally a fatal law. If the people were kind of treated differently than what they expect, they should have realized in many streets they think it was personal just to mistreat them badly. If we are in the witness's side, we believe that we are humans. We tell the truth onto each person. If we lie to other people, we would become a devil. That means they would try to betray other partner. Messages can come from within. The more people that they text, the more responsibility that they would actually have. This is not what it leads to as a total disagreement. This story can remind us, based on how we met each other for the first time. When we understand their names, they gotta know which religion they're actually born in. If we cannot find an identical person that looks like a twin, we doesn't have to make fun of them, right? We want to reenact how we feel. A person might understand who we are. No matter which location we are at, how can we treat them, or like which city they were actually born. If we live in a certain amount of area, like it's a mountainside cliff that we actually very dangerous of, it will lead to a fall or accident. We talked this earlier since more than a decade. I highly respect to against each other. It wasn't okay just to make a simple point out of everything. Now, I really understand your thoughts and comments about the people that are trying to get hated on. Some streamers think they would be funny just to make a drama out of themselves by telling a whole entire explanation story out of everything that has been said throughout social media. And now they're trying to reveal whose person is getting hated on the most. Sadly, not many people were trying to get betrayed of due to their homicide. If they think that they were trying to be funny, it doesn't mean that they would try to miscommunicate about everything. If we understand based on what we say, don't misjudge them. Keep it simple. Everybody has to keep in thought of the contagious moment we certainly live on. What impacts our future can be what's the best for all of us. By the time we turn into adults, we now understand what's it like having to be getting married at the age of 31. Seeing a girlfriend for the first time might be feeling a lot more contagious, but it's really harsh at all. Seeing a girl with a beautiful clothing on, it doesn't mean that they're trying to simp for each other. They want to show them respect, like going towards you or showing that you're feeling nervous or anxious, that you really don't want to talk to as of right now. Long time ago, there was that one guy who tried to not talk to each other for so long that they finally against to talk to each other, and they start saying words that are commonly spoken in many of the different languages that they read. Some of it can be written in books. Others might have to read from paper. It could be called wooden paper. When we talk about technology, It reminds me of something that they use back then. Not many people use something to write on. We don't have pencils. We only had to use typewriters for many black and white American people. But now, this is the time where we use something to write. This is really common sense. And when we wear different clothes, we can just match the pair of the size for all of the people that they could have been fitted on. If it doesn't fit for any of the athletes or the person that they actually wear, try different clothes on. That way, nobody could ever be naked. Personally, I would not thinking of not having a mental disease of something that would make it seem stressful to all of us. I know you guys here are trying to respect their elders. They could be like their dad, moms, sisters, brothers, auntie, like whoever we are. They can be nice to each other as well. But if the robbery starts to happen in each of the stores, the security will find out whose problem it was. They need to advise the company and based off the station that they are alerted to, so that we can investigate the footprints that they're trying to run to. The discovery about everything was totally out of its own business. They find out who's the culprit of the leader. Many business partners can get their own job physically. They do it by hand. Somehow, transportations can be useful too. Not many police cars can be rescued into many other missionaries. Some of it could be useful, and what people may feel a lot more comfortable is they know which phone number they have to dial. If the person was being stuck onto the house for 10 minutes with the fire that is going around, there is no way of going out through that door because it is so hot. You can feel the doorknob feeling burned. To avoid that, we might need to go to the elevator. If the elevator was so hot that it covered in flames, use the stairs. If you don't bring a phone in case that there is a situation between a person and a discovery about something, well, this may lead into an accident. Starting as of August, this is the time where we discover many new problems that we might face against that. Think of the scenario that has happened to you. Try to act out in many positions that you really recognize. You can think of it this way too. If you see something that is going on, tell an adult or ask someone that could really help you. You can't just sit there around and just stare at other people's eyes. That would lead into a bad behavior. Most students are unacceptable. Just to clarify, that friends are not their friends. Somehow we can just mislead them as directly as they feel less in touch of the many certain propaganda that was going up against that. Whether the person was trying to go up to may feel that they would just start bragging about something that most people shouldn't have. One day, when they return, we all know the discovery might still happen every daily and weekly. From now on, the moral of the explanation is never do something dangerous, or else a situation will come up and start breaking into pieces. This sums up everything when it comes to having a simple message towards the goal. At the end of the day, when we feel negotiative, by the time if we feel nervous about something, feel free to talk to a teacher, a parent, or even the principal. That is the member of the group that was educated in most schools. Areas can be safe, others are not. They would feel angry, sometimes rude, not even polite. They started to curse. Not everybody would be grateful. No. It's just that not everybody has a fair chance or opportunity just to feel relentless about everything. Most certain areas can feel quite weird in all the places that we live. Further than, most dangerous people could be homeless. If we were driving and the homeless person started coming up to us, bragging about food that is inside of the cup, the sign said of the paper was $10. We went to a local park, and guess what it just came up with? A mountain of drinks that sell $10. And a person runs to that guy and said, "Can I have a drink?" He said $10. What does he have to do with that money? You shouldn't just take a lot of money throughout that wallet. He would have suggested if people would say, "Don't do it, it's a scam." And that little boy started bragging about everything and started to realize, oh, that person is not real. He should have been fake. While he was thinking of something later on, he decided to quit and move on. The journey continues right after when everything started to happen. When they talk in a mischievous way, after they got up into a restaurant or supermarket, a weird guy approaches and started looking out for money inside of people's bag. They all felt traumatized. Sadly, not a lot of people showed up, and it really considered of having a different operation because of their feeling that they had been to. This story reminds me of a person that was trying to rob a bank. But although it wasn't explained in that detail, we think of a solution based on what we know about the evidence and how we can identify what was the explanation about everything. Even if we try to miscommunicate, although it's not really necessary in order just to make a lie about the whole conception about the situation between them and the hurtful team. It is really identical if they find it something more than just an ego. If we talk about makeup, it should be belonged to a girl, not a guy. If they think if a guy was turned into a female, it would know that it would be impersonation. If they try to impersonate against each other based on the outfit that they wear, it would lead into a 15-year timeout in jail. They would have to take off everything that they stole from the person that they wore, and now they had to go back to the store and find a new pair of shoes, dresses, and everything that has been stolen by a guy. Did you see the clear difference between that scenario? It's really contrary. Now let's talk about death. We all know some of our popular creators and many singers were passed away a long time ago. It's because of their health. When they talk about sending them to a hospital, doesn't mean that they have a heart attack. They know if they try to sing through the show, it feels like the lights were trying to bother them. And that's okay. Not everybody can just stand up for the province that they have. Most audience can sit between the front row of the audience. Maybe some stages were even set higher for most incredible chairs that they were trying to put them inside through the stadium so it would fit about 50,000 people. The inevitable part is it would be such a coincidence that not many people would try to feel like sitting in an uncomfortable seat would be hard just to make it faint onto the ground. Why would people understand that if they have to become older, they start to feel having a situation in their brain, making it seem impossible just to sleep onto the ground like that? When they were at a certain location, they can easily trip and fall. When they turn older, by the time they feel like 90 or 100 years old, people might recommend having a disease to the elderly would be a disaster. Not many Americans were being sold as slavery after all. They could be veterans. The native part is when they become as a relentless war civilization, people came up and start noticing what they try to say. People have different feelings sometimes. When we protect the world, it doesn't mean that we could use the explosive things just to hurt the sky, damage the property of the buildings. There is nothing way compared to it. What it seems hard is there's a lot of different things that could happen to the malfunction people. the electricity would go out by the time we use too much devices. Maybe they just needed to shut it down for whatever reason. When thunderstorm hits, the whole thing turns off. All the power cables, lights, TV, and many other consecutive things of power may lead into an accident. Do you see everything that has happened? Remember, when we have a certain power outage, you could call the electrician just to help out the problem and how we can resolve that issue. Most monitors are eligible to have it fixed by then. We securely understand not many people used to have been allergic to, although many devices were being handed out to every single adult. I guess for most parts they used to have power outlets too. It combined into one power line. We may have more than 2 or 3 power lines across our house. It is way easier for them to get transported on. When we use chargers, like for example the one that we have at home, it is accessible for them to use it when we get low battery. The dangerous part is when we put the chargers into the wrong direction, you would be electrocuted. They would not be able to survive, but when you touch the body part of the electrocution, you will be electrocuted also, because the lightning struck into your hand. We don't want that to happen. Most people have done this before. It is very serious. Another dangerous hazard is subway surfing. A lot of people has gone through many cable cars in each subway train. It's a total of 8. Most people don't even understand, and they would try to stay between the cars as long as they have been taken apart from the station. We don't want that to escalate that, because if we fall into the tracks, they would get hurt. People would not be happy or pleased. They would need to be sent to the hospital directly. And guess what happens now? It's over. They would not survive at it at all. They would be dead. They would say to the announcer, and people might understand, it's not fair just to be put into the graveyard. At least I managed to survive and listen to what the people were saying when they actually get on the train. We do not have to stand in front of the yellow line, because if we do, that will be a terrible idea. If we stand close to the edge of the train station by putting the feet into it, that's not safe. How would people feel if they dropped their devices onto the floor and the screen just cracked all over the devices? People would not be so relentless in some of these days. If there was a guy or a woman start recording at the train station and all you see was a shattered glass, do not let other people walk into it. Move away. Find a nearest spot that is clean. Don't even step onto it. the phone cases was too much money. They cannot afford it just to happen easily. The common useless thing was the phones cost about $850. Isn't that really terrible? They saved us so much money just to buy everything. Who would do such a thing like this? Not many people could even handle just to surprise them in all those emotions. No. It will cause into a fatal accident. Not even one person could even do it. It's so obvious that they explained the whole situation and the scenario this type. Very frustrating, isn't it? I wouldn't even try to relent many other things that were happening across the US. Yes, I know. Anyways, the sky will turn dark for just a moment there. I've been recording for about 42 minutes and a half. I think I feel like doing a long video would be a great positive idea. Now we know about the situation and the scenario type about everything. You can hear the background of them doing their work of construction. It seems like they were preparing to build something. I don't know what it was. Can you guys know what it is? How does it feel like being betrayed? Do you think it's okay just to make fun of the serious joke? They would not be happy after all. It's like having a seizure. What did they call it? Seizure problem? No, people would not like it after all. If people were trying to feel delicate, they would just back up and move away. People might have to feel the sense of commotion of the autism that people were having. People at the age of 15 still get to use with terrorism. Do you know what that means? It means like planning to destroy stuff. It's like when you're having a bad temper and they start going crazy after all this bragging and stuff that was trying to make the dogs feel not safe, and they would just to feel all the senseless things that would come up into their own minds. They cannot infiltrate this problem anymore. Their problems need to be resolved from all of this senseless issue that they were having. Now we need to compromise to the teacher, asking about everything that has been studied within all those senseless things that most people would ever done. People did so bad at their job. Pooping onto the floor, refusing to mop it. What a convicted guy he was doing. He needs to be put into custody for 18 months so that he could live longer. New York City is one of the most US populated world. It holds over millions and millions of people living in this Empire State Building, New York suburban areas like houses. Some of the stores could be related into a food court, which is obvious too. Sometimes it would be quite difficult just to find it substantially. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this 50-minute video. Peace. I'm premiering this also. I'll see you next time.